Welcome to my channel where a crazy HOA Karen gets shut down when she's hit with a hefty state fine that she didn't expect. Our next Reddit post is from you/Kyle. My HOA Karen removed my garden while I was away. When I got home, I found this giant 2-foot wide by 4-foot long hole in my front garden, where she had cut down several of my plants, broken off the rose bushes, and even destroyed my wife's memorial rock that we had made out of concrete. And to top it all off, she left a nasty note saying that I'd been cited for violating the CCNRS because I hadn't removed my garden within 7 days after receiving her notice. But there was no notice. And as I said, I'd only been gone for 3 days. I know the rules say that you have to remove your garden if it reaches a certain height, and that the HOA can do so if you don't. But here in California, you still have to give the resident at least 30 days to do it themselves. There were also no other violations in our front yard. It wasn't overgrown or unkempt. It just had a few large, healthy plants in it that my wife loved. I spoke with the HOA president and asked her why they did this, specifically about the rock. I knew it would be a problem if they broke it because it was a custom piece. And she tried to pass the buck, first telling me that the board voted to have it removed, but then telling me that it was done by a groundskeeper that they hired without the board's approval. She told me that I should just be glad that they didn't find any other problems with my yard, because I was technically in violation and that I should just let it go. In fact, she actually said the exact line, "You should just let it go." The absolute nerve of these people. They literally destroy my property and I should just let it go. Yeah, OP, maybe you should just let it go and move to a different country because these people sound like they need to be locked up. Now, I admit that I am prone to holding on to grudges and I hate feeling helpless. So I went through every single document that I could find related to the HOA. I cross-referenced everything with my own records and I scoured the internet looking for any relevant laws. I discovered that not only did they violate my rights as a homeowner, but the groundskeeper also violated business codes by disposing of my property and not returning it to me. And lastly, I found out that both the HOA and the groundskeeper were violating city ordinances with the way they disposed of the plants. I wrote them both letters, informing them that they were in violation of various laws, and that I was preparing to take legal action. I never intended to actually sue them. I just wanted them to know that their actions had consequences. Well, a month after that, I received 2 checks in the mail. One was from the HOA for the full cost of replacing the rose bushes and the rock. The other was from the groundskeeper for the cost of the plants. I refused both checks because they were worthless pieces of trash that couldn't possibly replace what I lost. The rose bushes were unique varieties that my wife spent years cultivating into large, healthy plants. They were priceless to us. The same was true of the rock, and it took my wife over 2 months to make it after she lost our baby boy. It was a labor of love, and it simply couldn't be replaced by money. I called the HOA president, and I told her that I was disappointed that they had tried to buy me out. She acted as though she had no idea what I was talking about, and she claimed that she hadn't heard from the groundskeeper. Either way, it wasn't her problem. It was the groundskeeper's responsibility to handle that. I told her that that was unacceptable and that she needed to be held accountable for her actions. She told me that if I didn't cash one of those checks, then she would consider that an admission that I was trying to extort the HOA. I told her that I wouldn't accept the checks and I would be following up with the Attorney General regarding their handling of the situation. And just last week I received another letter in the mail. This time it was from the State Attorney General's office. It turns out that I was right about all the laws that I'd researched. The HOA is now being fined $5,000 for removing my garden without giving me adequate notice and for failing to return my property to me. And the groundskeeper is being fined $1,000 for improper disposal of vegetation and failure to return lost or discarded material. The HOA president tried to call me and leave me voicemails begging me to reconsider and demanding that I tell the AG's office that she didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't answer the phone or respond to her messages. However, I did call the Attorney General's office back and I told them that the HOA president had contacted me regarding the case. They thanked me for letting them know, and they told me that they would make a note of it. Last night, I received a final letter from the HOA president. In it, she stated that she was shocked and appalled that I would stoop to such lows. As a millionaire, I should be able to handle the loss of a few measly plants. And how dare I drag my poor, hard-working neighbors into this nonsense? She ended it with a condescending "sincerely" instead of her usual "regards," which was the most obnoxious thing of all. I guess she thinks that I'm the one who's being childish here. OP, I hope that your wife saw that entire thing, because that letter sounds like something that she would love. And you know what, OP? Just cash those checks. I don't think that you should hold on to a grudge, especially when you can make yourself wealthier by just cashing some checks. Now, obviously, if you don't need the money, then don't cash the checks. But I really do think that it would make your life easier, and it would make your wife happier if you just let it go, because these people are clearly terrible human beings. So why would you want to waste any more time thinking about them? If you need to get rid of some anger or frustration in your life, then go sign up for a boxing class. That's always what I recommend. It's a great way to get all that pent-up energy out of your system. You show up, you get to punch things, and then you feel so much better afterwards. Our next Reddit post is from u/ABQ. The HOA Karen removed my garden while I was away. She left a note saying that I had 7 days to remove my garden before they would have it removed at my expense. I checked the covenants and found that there was no time frame given for removal of non-compliant vegetation. The covenants also said that the HOA could remove offending plants, but it didn't mention anything about the HOA or its agents removing the garden beds or hardscape. When I got home, I noticed that she had removed the entire garden bed and broken off all of the climbing vines on my trellis. As I was taking pictures, she drove by, and I asked her why she removed my garden bed. She told me that she was doing me a favor because I was violating the covenants. I told her that I was perfectly within my rights, according to the documents. She responded that she didn't care, and that I should just rip it out. I decided to play stupid games with HOA Karen and her friends. First, I started emailing everyone on the board, asking what authority they had to make these kinds of decisions. I asked if they had the authority to bind the Homeowners Association to a contract for removal of my garden bed. I asked if they had the authority to remove the hardscape, etc. Everyone ghosted me. Next, I posted on Nextdoor and Facebook Marketplace, offering my garden bed, trellises, soil, tools, hoses, everything. It was like wildfire. Within hours, I had offers for every single item that I listed. I sold everything for a fraction of the price that I paid for it. Everything was gone within 2 days. On the third day, I received a check from the HOA for $650, which was supposed to cover the cost of removing the garden bed. I deposited the check and cashed it. HOA Karen was pissed because I basically made her pay for my garden twice. I didn't offer to refund her the money, so she lost her mind. She ended up sending me a letter, probably written with her feces-covered hands, calling me a lowlife and a parasite and accusing me of extortion. Her language was so vile and disgusting that I saved a copy of it. At the end of the year, I had a meeting with the HOA board to discuss my violations and fines. I brought up the incident with HOA Karen and asked for her to be held accountable for her actions. I read the letter that she sent me word for word. The board didn't say a word. I've since learned that she resigned from the board. I wonder why. This one has to hurt. HOA Karen probably wrote that letter using her lawyer-issued stationery too. I love it. Oh my God, what a burn. That was r/malicious compliance. And if you like this content, Check out my podcast, where I publish the exact same episodes. Also hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.